On this week's Eamonn and The Gaffers, we go all international. I'm talking to Ian Baraclough, former player who's now the new manager of Northern Ireland, the Northern Ireland national team. That is after previously managing the under-21s at Northern Ireland. And after a successful spell with those under-21s, he was appointed as the successor to Michael O'Neill as manager of the senior team. And that was at the end of June this year, June 2020, and he joins me now. Ian, first of all, congratulations.
Thanks, Eamon. Morning. It's good to be speaking to you.
Well, I say to you, congratulations, but then, you know, and I am Northern Irish and it is my team and whatever. But then the thing I would say to you is, what a job you've taken on here. And I only say that because we're only a wee tiny country with you haven't got much of a selection to choose from. But do you have any Northern Irish links? You're not a Northern Irish man yourself.
No, I'm not a native. I've not got a long-lost grandfather or great-grandfather. I suppose, and I've never told the story before, but I suppose the earliest memories of Northern Ireland was I've got 4 older brothers. We used to play Subbuteo, and my team always seemed to be Northern Ireland for some reason.
Get out! It was meant to be.
Exactly. Now, I'm not saying that I was left with the Duff team, because I think, you know, we've already mentioned that the home internationals, Northern Ireland still hold the trophy, don't they?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they do. Yeah.
So it's let's say it's a great honour for me. Having worked for 3 years with the under-21s, I never envisaged being given the chance of taking over the seniors when first taking the job with Michael. You know, I can't thank Michael enough for the way he's handled me, dealt with me as the under-21s manager. He's mentored me as well. Whether there was a plan in place, thinking further ahead, I don't know. But no, I'm delighted to take the job. And I know it's a tough one. I know I've got my eyes well open, but I'm looking forward to it.
Any advice that Michael gave you? You know, I mean, he did a lot with so little. Was there a secret that he passed on? Was there anything he said, you know, this is the best way, manage your expectations, or indeed, you know, the expectations of the fans?
Yeah, I don't think there's any one thing that maybe stands out that he said, but, you know, we've had many conversations down you know, over the last few years, and even since he's left the job and I've taken the job, you know, he's a person I can pick the phone up to. He'll give me sound advice, I'm sure. And no, I think he's always said, be your own man, and that was the thing with the under-21s as well. You know, when I first took the job, I spoke to him and said, you know, are you looking for the 21s to replicate the seniors? Or, you know, do we play in the same way? And he said, no, just manage it how you see fit, and you've got the players at your disposal. Work with them how you think you're going to get the best out of them, and that's how I've managed. And unfortunately, we've been pretty successful with the young lads.
But as the song goes, we're not Brazil, we're Northern Ireland. And you talk about the young players. Do you go down that line of scarring the ancestry and working out anybody who has any Northern Irish roots? Is that a priority for you, or how do you keep the gene pool going?
Yeah, and it's always going to be a difficult task. Like you said, 1.5 million inhabitants. You know, there's many Northern Irish people around the world, but and trying to tap into their ancestry, and it only goes back as far as grandparents. But when you said about the song goes, you know, with Brazil, but I'd love to bring Neymar in, but I'm not sure he's got any Belfast roots. You know, it's one of them where you've got to speak to people, speak to agents, try and unearth certain gems, and knowing that there's good young players within Northern Ireland, within the Northern Irish League as well. So for me, trying to work with those young players.
But what about you, Ian? With the best will in the world, there's a lot of people who haven't got a clue who you are, right? And that's partly what we're going to try and do through this this podcast here. Why are you the man for this job?
That's a difficult question for me to answer, Eamon. It's one that I think I've gone and worked at for what, 10 or 11 years in coaching and management since finishing as a player. you know, I just tried to work as hard as possible. I wasn't good enough to play in the Premier League. I was a solid Championship and League One player, I suppose. Over 700 appearances as a player, and sort of tried to take that into my coaching. That just work as hard as you can. Try and find innovative ways to, you know, to do things. Try and find that certain 1% to make yourself better. And I've always encouraged players to do the same. And for me, having taken me to the likes of Sligo, you know, over in the west of Ireland and up to Motherwell. I've gone back as assistant manager at Oldham, and you know, I've just tried to work hard to be the best that I can be. And you know, this opportunity's come forward through you know what we've done with the under-21s, and you know, hopefully I'll just carry on being myself.
Let's just fill people in on what you were talking about there, because as a player, your position was defender, right?
Well, jack of all trades, master of none. I actually started as a striker. So
Had you?
I did at Leicester, yeah, and scored a few goals within the youth team. My strike partner was Paul Kitson, who went on to bigger and better things than me. And I probably found out that I wasn't going to be a striker and became a midfielder and a defender, and that's probably why I managed to get as many games as I did, actually, because you know you can fill in.
Tell you what, if you go on YouTube though, you get your goals that you have scored. Now, personally, I could only find one, but it was a good one. It was a very, very good one. What that feeling of scoring, there mustn't be anything like it.
No, and it's been described in other terms as well. But I'm not. This is a clean podcast, Eamonn. I think I managed to score 49, 50 goals. And one of the BBC reporters the other week back in Northern Ireland said, I've seen many of your goals and they all seem to be from outside of the box. Well, that probably tells you that I wasn't going to be a striker, and there aren't many tap-ins there.
Well, you could hit them. They look good. You know, as a player in, was a defender, he said that he started out as a striker. 10 years there for Leicester City, Grimsby Town, Lincoln City, Mansfield, Notts County, Queen's Park Rangers and Scunthorpe. Having been part of Scunthorpe's coaching staff after retiring, he went on to manage the club for a year between 2010 and 2011. In 2012, you were appointed manager of Sligo Rovers. And Ian is regarded as the club's most successful manager, having led them to numerous trophies during a 2-year stay. So, after managing Scunthorpe, you take the decision to move to the west of Ireland and the Premier Division of the League of Ireland to Sligo Rovers. Looking back, was that a gamble to move out of the English League? You're known, I mean, look, I went through all those clubs there. So you're known, you have a reputation, you're into management, and then you decide to go to the League of Ireland.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It was one of those things where I when I was at Scunthorpe, I enjoyed my time as a player. I ended up being there for 6 or 7 years. I had a really good relationship with the chairman. He appointed Nigel Atkins as caretaker manager when Brian Laws left. Nigel was a physio, as many people will know. And I was one of the senior players. Myself and Andy Crosby were still playing. And one of the senior players, and you know, Nigel said, come and assist me. Will you assist me? We didn't know how long it'd last for. And we ran with it and ended up getting promoted to the Championship by winning League One, and then we got relegated and then promoted again via the playoffs. So Scunthorpe in the Championship was punching well above its weight. Nigel moved on to Southampton and could only take one person with him, and he took Andy with him, and I was there, you know, sort of ready to pack my bags, ready to go to Southampton, but then, you know, that didn't work out, and the chairman at Scunthorpe said, well, I'm not going to let you go anyway. So you know, I had a choice: take over as manager, having just come out of the dressing room, I suppose, still knowing some of the dressing room, and knowing that we were probably going to get relegated anyway. But I took the job, I took the gamble, and you know, after 7 months, it was decided that someone else would come in, even though we'd managed to keep a head above the bottom three in the Championship, and a 3-0 defeat by Preston one night. You know, that was the end for me, and we'd only just gone into the bottom three. So I was then out of work for 11 months. I was going around watching games of football. I was scouting for Watford at the time as well. So certainly keeping my my face in, and I got this phone call on a Sunday evening right out of the blue from an agent who was working on behalf of Sligo, and asked me if I would come across and speak to the club. It wasn't a job that I was courting. I didn't apply for it, but and I said, listen, give me half an hour. I just need to find out where Sligo is for a start.
Yeah.
And I did a bit of digging quickly, and got back and spoke to my wife at the time, and said, look, it's something we've got to explore. Something I'd like to go and do, and in the end, I was in and thrown in at the deep end there, I suppose, because it was 2 days before the start of the season, taken over from Paul Cook, who'd gone to Accrington, and we ran with it, and it was a great club, because you had to get your hands dirty, you had to get involved with everything, and you had to speak with I think there was 12, 13 committee members. They all wanted their little say in it as well. They were all experts in football, and so just dealing with that was an experience. But players, we had to educate into a professional way, and bring certain things to the table that enabled us hopefully to win a league.
It says a lot about Sligo as well. I mean, the fact that I've interviewed Paul Cook on this series, and he talks so fondly about his time at Sligo, and he talked about you taking over there as well. But it says a lot about their ambition, doesn't it?
I think so, and that they were willing to delve into the English leagues to have a look and see what's available out there. I believe that my name was put into them by another member of the LMA, so that the family that we've got, and it was one of those that look, I wanted to explore, because I'd been out of management for so long, and I hadn't got a coaching job as well. So yeah, it was a gamble, and my family didn't come out there with me, so I went out there on my own. I was getting back regularly back to Leicester, but it was tough on everybody, and there was a lot of sacrifices made.
Yeah. And has the whole Irish experience, south and north, been a cultural education? I mean, is there a different way of doing things? I mean, how have you found Irish society and Irish ways of doing things?
Yeah, I had to certainly immerse myself into the culture of the west of Ireland. It was something I'd only been across there when we'd gone with teams previously. Leicester and QPR had gone over there for pre-season tours. I love the people. I've always loved the people. I've loved the way that they enjoy life. I think they've had to deal with many things down the years, and I probably don't even comprehend a lot of the stuff. And it's one of those that you look from afar, and it's, you hope to find a way of bringing people together. But that's for me. That's through football. I've got to know and love and really do enjoy the way that the Irish people, north and south of the border, enjoy their football and life.
Which brings me to the Green and White Army, the Northern Irish supporters, and the fact that oh my goodness me, what an autumn you are going to have ahead of you with this UEFA Nations League stuff. But you're not going to have home support. You're not going to have people in the National Stadium.
No, but I know people that are going to travel. It's not going to deter them, and that was something again as well when taking the 21s job, having just watched the Euros 2016, and it was a year later that I came into the association, and you think straight away, the fans, the way they acted in defeat, in victory, I think. Fans of the tournament that were voted, the atmosphere within ground, you could see that came out from the television. I'm sure you were there, Eamonn, weren't you?
Yeah.
And it just, it put a tingle down your spine, and to be part of that, and to play a small part in that at first with the under 21s was great, and we received good support. But, this period is going to be tough. It's going to be a tough job anyway. I understand that. And this period is going to be tough. It's choppy waters. We're not sure what's ahead of us come September, October, November, and the quicker we can get the fans back in the ground, when it's safe for everybody is paramount. But you know, it'll hurt us perhaps more than some countries, because we know how passionate the fans are and how they've. I know it's a cliche, but the 12th man. You know, we want fans back in the ground as soon as possible.
Do you have a 12th man as a manager? Is it a lonely job, or are there people you can pick up the phone to? I mean, would Michael O'Neill always be there? There are other international managers, and I know you took your badges with Ryan Giggs, for instance. Have you got mates? Have you got people who you respect, who you could offload on, take advice from?
That's the one thing, Eamonn. I think people don't realise that it's an enclosed world. You meet many people along the way, but I think there's many out there, especially when you become a coach and a manager. You want to try and help each other. It's competitive. We all want to get that top job. We all want to win games of football, but we all pick up the phone to each other at one stage or another and ask for advice. And I think I've made many contacts along the way that have been really willing to help me out and have helped me out. Previous managers, people I've played with who are now in coaching jobs. There's like you say, Michael O'Neill's one that I wouldn't hesitate in picking the phone up to. But you know, I've played under very good managers, and you know, the likes of Sam Allardyce, who you know would have had so many years of experience that wouldn't hesitate to give me advice if it was a case of picking up the phone to.
Yeah, that's comforting. That's good to know as well.
And it's, again, you don't realise it until you're in it that yes, we are all competitive, and when you're in the opposing dugout, you know, there's no holds barred for 90 minutes. You do what you can to win a game. But when you get
the Baraclough way of playing, or is there a higher profile manager that you could equate with, and you could say that's very much me, the way he does it is the way I would like to do it?
No, I think there's again, I think many people will say, be your own person, be your own man, and I have been. But you certainly take traits from people that you've worked with and worked under, good and bad. You certainly you recognise things that you don't like, and you don't want to bring that into your managerial style. But there's, you know, the likes of Andy King played for Everton for years. God rest his soul now. But he signed me for Mansfield, and he brought me into a dressing room that he wanted the lads to have fun. He wanted them to enjoy themselves. And as a player, I loved being in that environment, and I want to try and bring that to my dressing room as well. So there's certain things we'd have done with the under-21s that you know, wacky things that you wouldn't think, you know, is this going to work or not? Like, I don't know, you're in a hotel for 10 days, cooped up amongst training and games while you're at an international level. And we did things like human hungry hippos and you know, you know, I can't imagine Johnny Evans being pulled by the ankles, being back and forth. But listen, whatever works, you try and sort of relieve that tediousness of being in a hotel at times. And you know, you try the quizzes and the family fortunes and whatever. But
very good.
But the bar has to be set, and there's no ceiling to that.
But when you see, I mean, I can see now it all ties in with you running the under-21s, doing so well with the under-21s. That must be great continuity. It must be great hope for those lads who played under you, that, you know, they are the next generation, they are the next wave. There is a hope, that there is a belief that they could break in to the big squad.
And I think that, you know, they've seen over the last few years that there is that pathway already. As I said, Michael worked with me closely in regards to, you know, the lads that are breaking through, who's doing well for the not just the 21s, but the 19s, the 17s as well. So there's a pathway now from that, the Northern Irish Academy that's being run by Jim Magilton and his staff, through to the 17s, 19s, and the team that I was looking after, the 21s. You know, we all know the younger players coming through, and there are some good young players that hopefully we can see in the coming years. But, you know, certainly for those players that were with me and broke into the senior squad, 11 of them made their debuts, and hopefully they see me as a safe pair of hands that they can come to and speak to and be open with, and perform at their best. But they've got to be good enough, Eamonn, first and foremost, to break into the squad. just because I've come from the 21s doesn't mean that they naturally will now get a chance there. They've got to continue with their careers and work hard at their clubs and earn that chance to get into the senior squad, because it's competitive.
When you were a young lad and you were playing on that Subbuteo board with your brothers, were there heroes? Were there people you had in mind, of that time that you thought, I want to grow up to be a player like that? Who were they?
My first hero was Malcolm McDonald. So my first kit bought for me was a Newcastle one. So to be the striker, the number 9 for Newcastle. I don't know where that link came from. I don't know why I got given a Newcastle shirt, but I was, I think, 4 years of age, and Malcolm McDonald was my hero. And then he signed for Arsenal, and so I moved my allegiances to Arsenal as well. And many friends who know me now know me as an Arsenal supporter, but don't tell the Leicester fans that. I always claim I'm a Leicester fan as well, but no.
But you were a McDonald fan, really. That's what you were.
He was my first hero. So to become a striker and try and be a hard-working, bustling striker, it was never going to be. I was 10 stone wet through, but
yeah, he was a hard man, though. I mean, he was a bundle of energy, and you wouldn't want to tangle with him, and he could hit a ball and head a ball.
He could. He was like the all-round striker of the day, and he wasn't the tallest, but he was still very good in the air, and say he was full of hard work, and for me he was probably the first one of a young age, but I was lucky enough to play with very, very good players, the likes of Gary McAllister at Leicester, and what he went on to achieve there. In training he worked hard, but left foot, right foot, after training, doing what he could. Talk about David Beckham with free kicks. Gary McAllister was the first one I watched, after the game, after training, be on that training ground for half an hour afterwards, just working on his game. And someone like him was a role model for me. And Paul Ramsey, an ex-Northern Ireland player and a teammate at Leicester, is someone I've kept in touch with as well, and at different times spoken to him, and again, for him, he took me under my wing as a young player at Leicester, and helped me mould me into what I was. Say, someone who worked hard and tried to get the best out of him.
So you want to be working hard at the moment. I mean, is that Northern Ireland job? Obviously, it's a full-time job, but I mean, they're not playing full-time. So what are you involved in between now and the UEFA Nations? What do you do? What is your job now?
People say, when I went into the international side of it, it was, you're going to have to fill your time with things. And for me, it's never been a problem in regards to watching players, try and meet them at the training grounds, try and meet them away from the environment of football, watch as many games as possible. So, I mean, for me, 85% of my time has been watching games, be a scout. We've had to find different ways of doing that. And the laptop, clearly with the software that's available now, to be able to watch games and footage is key. Preparing for those games coming up in September, Romania away and Norway at home. I've had to work with me and my staff, get the staff together, speak to as many players as possible in the build up to it. And certainly, with COVID, the pandemic has brought different challenges. And right up to when we go to Romania, I think we're going to have to make sure we've got our ear to the ground and making sure that it's safe for ourselves, staff, players, and everyone with the group in the bubble, so to speak. That everything's going to be fine with that. And it's full on, to be honest. And I'm once I've finished with you, Eamonn, there, it'll be onto another meeting in the village to speak about what's coming up in September, October.
Well, that's good to know. I'm sure as a manager, as a gaffer, in a way you like to be you have to be a dad or a father figure to some of those players, particularly the under 21s. And we were talking about footballing heroes, and if I talk about heroes in general, your own father must be a hero to you.
Yeah.
Tell people why that is.
Yeah, he's always been there for me. My mum died when I was 8, so to have 5 lads, to have to go out and take on 2 jobs. I remember when he got home, was a pattern maker working with wood, metal. That was his day job, and then he went out and helped his brother. You know, at that time, sort of debt collecting, and I'm sure, you know, it's not a job you would do now, but sort of, you know.
He had to do, that's what he had to do.
At night time, he you know, collecting. I remember it being in the car with him as well, and say it wouldn't happen now, because going around to places where people have borrowed money and, you know, paying it back on the never, I suppose, and you know, 5ers, 10ers here, what they could, and you know, I'd be in the car with the little bundle of money as well, and ticking off who's paid, who's not. You know, he wouldn't get home and into his bed till 10, 11 o'clock at night. He'd have to be up early again then to go for the next day, and say five lads, you know, between the ages of at that time, it would have been, well, I was 8, my older brother would have been early 20s. Would have been really, really difficult, but I never went without anything. He managed to get me to football matches that I needed to get to. You know, he never. My brothers would say that he tried to provide for us as much as we could, and we obviously had to work hard as a group of lads together to help him as well. But you know, he taught us great values, and I take many of them values with me, and I try and pass them on to the young players, and I continue today. And even with the seniors, I'll say to them that, and I'll remind them that I want good people within the group, and you know, people that come in and take things for granted, and are blasé with the situation, aren't going to get on with me too well. You know, I want people with values, good values, who respect others, and these are the things that my dad's taught me. Is your dad still alive? He is. He'll be now you're testing me. He'll be 86 in September. Yeah. So but he's whether he's there physically or not, he's with you in that dressing room then at with every match in his philosophy. And I'm sure if you said to him, you know, you must be very proud of your son, he would say the way my dad would have said, which son is that? Or I'm proud of all of them. But I'm sure he is proud of all of you, and I hope. Unfortunately, he was, you know, when we won the league title in Sligo, my brothers came across with him, brought him over, and so we were able to share in that celebration. And likewise, he can't wait to get over. He can still, well, if he has a hip operation very, very soon, hopefully he'll be able to get about a bit more. But he can't wait to get over again and see one of the internationals at home. And what's his name? Roy. Well, that's good that Roy's there as well. Roy Baraclough. There's an actor called Roy Baraclough, wasn't there? I knew you were going to say Coronation Street or something, wasn't there? It's not. Yeah, it's not Alec Gilroy. No, Alec Gilroy. That's who it was. Absolutely right. Brilliant stuff. Well, I'm glad to see that so many people in Leicester are now Northern Irish followers and supporters as well, and we're with you the whole way, Ian. It's a tremendous honour for you to get the job. It's a tremendous honour for us to see you in that job, and for me to talk to you today about life as a gaffer. And I hope you do very, very well, my friend. Thanks, Eamonn. Can't wait to meet you at one of the games. Okay. God bless. All the best. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. I'm Eamonn Holmes. This was Eamonn and The Gaffers. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And you can download this from wherever you do get your podcasts or on YouTube.